A is for Alcoholic is a program about recovery. My name is John, and I'm an alcoholic.
And my name is Jerry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Join us as we go through the alphabet of alcoholism, one letter at a time.
Welcome back to A is for Alcoholic.
It's
The
getting
journey of two young men turned old through the ways of whiskey, wanton
ways
of whiskey and
and
wine.
women who are
and
sick of our
women.
shit.
Yes.
The journey of two men through their psyche and their bodies, exploring our bodies together.
Body, mind, and soul.
Just
I
exploring.
it's funny when I sometimes get messages from people saying like I'm started listening to you from the beginning and I'm here, or I'm this many back behind, and I guess there is a bit of a narrative to it. I mean, I don't think you need to like listen to last week's to understand this week's or anything like that. Like but there's definitely like shifts in our discussion of things and shifts in our comfortability discussing certain things.
Really?
But well, I think in the beginning there was very much this sort of hesitation about how to talk about being in the program that we're in,
Yeah.
and not have it be some promotional tool for like, hey, there's this really great program. All you got to do is, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So,
All you got to do is train wreck your life because you can't help it. You can't
So-
help but train wreck.
there's a couple of things I want to off the top before we go. So next week, if anyone's interested, we're going to be kind of reviewing or discussing the book John Barleycorn. And I don't want to give away too much of what that is. It's a Jack London book. It was written in like 1910 or something like that.
Yeah, like over 100 years
1907
ago.
or something.
Yeah.
So it was definitely before AA and any other 12-step programs, which Jerry was a little bit annoyed, I think, at one
I got
point.
hot takes on John Barleycorn. I'm saving
Yes,
my
so-
hot takes.
So we're going to discuss that next week. So if anybody wants to download the audiobook or wants to read along so you know what the fuck we're talking about.
Right. It's like a 6-hour audiobook on Audible.
Yeah.
downloaded it. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
I had to because I didn't have time to read it at night. I just would pass out. Yeah. So I listen to it while I paint.
And I think too, you know what I realized too, Overdrive is an app that hooks up to your library, and you can get a bunch of stuff for free, like Kindle stuff, and audiobooks for free.
I don't have a fucking library card, dude.
Well,
Library's closed.
just closed. No curbside pickup.
It's opening today for the first time. Well, I can't even go get the library card. I have to go in person and take a piece of mail, and it's just there's a lot of moving parts, man. It's just too much,
I do. The tediousness of errands is obnoxious. And then the week after that, I think our good friend Coda is going to join us.
Oh, he's back.
Again.
Boys are back in town, man. I talked to him on the phone the other day, and it was great. Good old- that Coda spirit, dude. I swear to God. I don't know, man. He's just got that desert spirit. I love him for that.
He's like an old coyote.
It's like an old coyote. That's a good way of putting it, dude. Like he's not Native American, but he's like one of those dudes that like I imagine just kicks it with tons of Native Americans and like takes their wisdom on. I don't know, man.
Yeah. He's a very he does have a certain level of wisdom. Not that I want to blow smoke up his ass now.
No, yeah, and like I have to tread carefully because Coda in no way is a Native American in any way. I just picture him just into the desert, just staring at the vistas,
Yeah.
Nice mesa or something.
Vaping contemplatively.
Oh, is he vaping now too?
I don't know. I think he was, or maybe he wasn't, or he was trying to. I don't know.
Smoking.
I know
those
he quit
Marlboro
smoking.
Lights,
Yeah.
looking at the horizon, being like, "It's a big sky." You know what, Johnny? It's a big sky, Johnny.
So he's gonna join us next week.
Great.
I think.
Looking forward to it. Not next week, week after. Right?
Week after, yeah. Now I talked to him last night too, and he said, I like watching you guys on YouTube which, by the way, if you don't know, we're on YouTube as well. You can go check us out. And
Put
A
a
is for
face.
alcoholic.
Put a face to the voice. I
Right.
shower, man.
Yeah, I haven't. My hair's it's getting wild. But he said, one of the things, I'll watch it for like 10 or 15 minutes and then I'll turn it off. And he's like, I was just getting frustrated because I wanted to chime in and be like, you know what? And the thing I like, well, the thing I like about Coda is like, and that I know that I need is sometimes he'll call you on your bullshit. He'll keep you honest and be like, no, man, that's not what's going on there. You're just full of shit, or you're blowing smoke up your own ass about this, that, and the other. And I think, we try to be as genuine as possible, but it's a podcast and there's microphones and we're recording and we're aware of that. And so it can be performative and yeah. So we're doing all that. And then I also had a conversation with a gentleman by the name of Chris Marshall, and he is the founder of Sands Bar, which is a alcohol-free bar that's based out of Austin, Texas.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I guess it was, we talk all about it, but he did pop-ups and did a tour in 2019 around the country. And then they got a brick and mortar place in Austin. And, he talks about he's like, the cocktails are great, but it's more about the community and the connection that I think a lot of us are so sorely lacking when we're drinking, I think that's what we're looking for when we go into a bar. I mean, I don't know. It's funny to think about it.
It is.
Why would you think about going into a bar and just having fun, just to have a drink? When you start peeling back the stinky layers of the alcoholic mind and brain and all that stuff, there's that idea of, I need to find my tribe. I need to find my people. I need to find some kind of friendly interaction. And we definitely love to pay for that for the bartender, from the bartender a lot of times. So all those things coming up in the next few weeks. And I thought we would do today's letter is I for I don't need to drink to act alcoholically.
Man, that's a mouthful. That's a mouthful.
And it basically just the
concept.
idea. Basically that the idea is a set of behaviors that we learned that I feel for me was just hyper reinforced with alcohol. And to the point and to the extent, as we drink, it feels good. We drink some more, it feels really good. We drink some more, we black out. So we don't remember a lot. You know what a lot of it is? We don't remember all that bad shit, right? I mean, if you get to the point where you're blacking out or browning out, as we used to say, you just don't remember it. So you're like, oh, there's a bad shit. And you wake up and you go, oh, hell, what did I do? And this, and we don't really, in the hungover state, we're not really interested in repairing our life or relationships or financial obligations, right? You're just like, I just want to feel better because I feel so sick.
Yeah.
And what's the thing that makes you feel better?
Right.
Booze.
Booze.
Did you were you weren't much of a morning drinker, were you?
Not till the end. I don't know why I hopped on that so hard. I came in hot on that one, but no, not till the end. Probably not till the last year or so. But before that, I just kind of rode the hangover out and then just waited it out. I waited it out until it was appropriate for me, because I was still in that denial phase where I was like, yo, gotta wait till at least between 3 to 5, and then it was like, but wait till 1 to 5. And then it was just like, just have a couple beers when you wake up just to write it out. Because beer's not, I used to say all the time, beer's not drinking. That's not drinking. Yeah. All the time. I'd be somewhere drinking a beer, hanging out with everybody, and they're like, why are you drinking beer so early? And I'd be like, beer's not drinking. Beer's not real alcohol. That's it's just farts in a can with a little bit of booze in it, Yeah.
I remember one time being at Mama's Mexican Kitchen in Belltown in Seattle. And I was drinking with some people, and it was one of these, drinking tequila at 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon kind of days.
Day drunk. Yeah.
Day drunk for sure. And we used to go, first we go to the whiskey bar because you could do dollar shots of well tequila, which, but So the story is that
Ah,
I had, I know, right? I
yeah.
had money for a friend, or I had their paycheck from work, and they were coming by to pick it up.
Mm.
And at one point during the knowing that I was going to be drinking for a lot longer, and it had already been several hours, and I still had several hours to go. So we were having a pit stop to eat, but I was drinking a beer. And I remember saying something to him, or there was some conversation about, um, oh, I'm drinking this beer to sober up. And I remember
Oh
saying
yeah.
that
Mm.
and really believing it, this was just in between. This was just the interim until the next, like, we're going to go
Rounds.
pound some more shots, more
Mhm.
rounds. Yeah. Before we go to the next whiskey bar or go get some more rumplements at wherever it was and whatever the fuck we were drinking. I think it was mostly tequila at that point. It was like summer and whatever. But, um, so it's a lot of these behaviors that I get into, and I know that one big one, and there's a lot of shit going on in the world, and the bad news keeps coming, and I can't go outside and breathe the air in Northern California right now, at least not
No.
directly and not for a very long time. It's deemed unhealthy right now, and I don't even need to uh see the sky. I can just see like the quality of the light has got that sort of reddish orange
Yeah.
haze.
Yeah.
So all these things that I would use to kind of combat my alcoholic thinking, with which is exercise and running and being outside. I can't even do those things right now, but I still have to go to work, right? So I go to work tonight, and I'm waiting tables, which tables are outside. So like I'm
That's
gonna wear a mask,
crazy,
and
dude.
people are
Yeah.
gonna
Mhm.
come. They're gonna come, and they're gonna sit down. And the other day I was like wiping ash off the table,
Yeah.
and the wind blows back and forth, and it may change and shift in the next few hours, but like it is crazy. It's totally, and I was getting overwhelmed with the idea of like, what is this fucking, this is the real dystopian is happening here. Like I'm wiping ash off the table so that I can present you with your next course.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Damn.
And I was really getting down. And then, I've been kind of this whole year, I did not, because the running slowed down, and then I didn't have something else to kind of cope with things. My eating habits, which they weren't horrible, and didn't go back to, 2 pints of ice cream before bed. Actually, it's been no ice cream, but, things like sitting down with a bag of almonds or cashews. And I noticed this too, where I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'll get some cashews or I'll get some almonds, and then I'll crush like half a bag, which is like 2 cups. And we can
Yeah.
go into the specifics of
It's a
calorie
lot of
count.
calories. Yeah.
It's a lot of calories.
Mhm.
And so it's one of the reasons why I have not been able to shake the last 10 or 15 pounds that I've wanted to.
Mhm.
And so that happened last night with the bag of cashews, and I have to
Cashews are
remind
really good
myself
though. Can't
they're
blame you.
really fucking good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna write it on my whiteboard behind me here. And I don't want to get too graphic, although it is a podcast, and it is, explicit, but I'm just gonna write nuts equals cramps. And that
Mhm.
there's definitely some gastrointestinal distress that comes with eating 2 cups of nuts.
Are you just like farting your dick off, dude?
No, I can't. I wake up with cramps, and then like just I'm on the pot, man. I'm just like,
Oh, dude.
oh
Yeah. Mhm.
man. And I don't doesn't feel healthy. It doesn't feel healthy when I'm doing it, and it doesn't feel healthy afterwards. Like there's a definite like reminds me of drinking. Well, it
Yes,
kind
it
of
does. Yeah.
feels good at the moment. All
Mhm.
right, yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's do this. Let's do this. My brain is my tongue, my mouth, my taste buds. Yeah,
It's
let's
all
do this. This is
firing.
really
Yeah.
good.
Mhm.
Okay, you feel better. You don't have to think about all the fucking evil shit that's going on out there, or the fact that you can't go outside, or that you have a job that is unfulfilling, or whatever other things, like, oh, I'm overweight, which I'm not, but
No.
that when you get those body dysmorphia fat days, and
Yes. Oh yeah.
which you are, is about as lean as they come these days, but
Right.
you're
But I
still
still get it. Yeah. And I have to look up my BMI to remind myself that I am within my normal range. You know what I mean? Because it's all up here. It's I think it's great that you're reminding yourself that your behavior with eating nuts is being a little compulsive, so to remind yourself like, hey, I need a physical reminder other than my physical discomfort. Like I need something written down, because you already did that with booze. And I think that was a lot of your process with get in your recovery has been writing it out or just writing it down, just like making a physical marking of it. You know what? And this is kind of off the path a little bit. What works for me is I don't really eat hardly any nuts. I eat a lot of popcorn. Popcorn's super low cal, and it has that same tactile feeling of like eating. I mean, I still fuck with chips and crackers every once in a while, but it's mostly popcorn. But anyway, so yeah, eat some popcorn. But anyway, I think it's a really, what you're doing is really positive. It's a really positive thing, because you're looking at it and you're recognizing it, and now you're like, okay, now I need to make a move to stop it. Like, can you limit your nut intake?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I can't. It's also expensive. Yeah. They're not cheap. No. Like I don't have like a nut hookup or anything like that. It's just, I'm just spending $10 a pound or whatever the fuck it is for like a little bag of nuts. And but yeah, I could probably limit it. I could probably measure it out. I didn't give up, but I was just like, I was just getting tired of all the fucking tediousness around everything, and that's when I was like, you know what? I'm not going to count my calories. I'm just over this. And I get this. I was overwhelmed with all of the maintenance that's required.
Yeah.
But this was this good reminder of the way that my brain thinks, like, okay, just eat this. And then, oh wait, the next morning I got this nut hangover.
Right.
Which seems
nut hangover, dude.
It's silly, but it's like, okay, remember this. This is why this is not healthy behavior. But I was just so overwhelmed, and I got so tired. And I had a therapy session this morning, and I was saying that I was just like, you know what? Sometimes I feel like I'm trying to impress my therapist with how good things are, or how well I can intellectualize my emotions, or how objective I can be about how I need to do these things. And everything will be fine. I'm like, I don't want to fucking do it anymore. And I don't want to maintain. And it's not that I'm like, and I'm sure you feel this way too sometimes. It's not that I want to go have a drink. But I'm just getting so fucking tired of all the little things and all the shit that needs to be done. And every single day.
Yes.
Like, can we just have a day off? Fucking A, like that's.
But you can, though, every once in a while, you can just let it slide one day, whether it's, I mean, you can give yourself respite. Like if I have to, I was a point in time where I had my morning chores, doing the dishes and feeding the animals and making my breakfast. And I had to do that all right after the workout. And after like month number, 6 or 7 of doing it, I was like, this is bullshit, so that I just wouldn't do the dishes one day and be like, fuck it, I'm going to do them later, or put it off. But I think you can give yourself a break. I don't know. Did your counselor, was she like, there ain't nothing wrong with that, buddy?
Basically, yeah. She said, I get it. You're not, well, one, she said, you're not alone. And I said,
Did she say she said you're not alone?
You're not.
You didn't even get the first nut pun. I was trying to get that nut in there.
Did I miss it? What did you say?
She said there ain't nothing wrong with that.
There ain't nothing wrong. Yeah, see, I was...
You're not alone, dude.
You're not alone.
Let's get down to the nuts and
bolts, and get down to the nuts and bolts. She basically said that, and, find... Knowing that it's not helpful is a good start for me. Right? I go, okay, well, why do you have these angry, frustrating, how do you get these emotions out? And one of the ways, and she reminded me, she's like, you wrote that angry letter to your dead father. Maybe write a letter to the smoke in the sky. I mean, it sounds fucking out there, but write a letter to a bag of cashews. Right. If it worked, if it helped me to process some of the rage and anger and frustration in one aspect, in a very large one, then maybe I could. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. It's not going to hurt anything to be like, no. Your cashews, why are you so good?
Right. And you are all alone. Right. I hate you. You're like, let's address the elephant in the legume. Bam! But I think you're all alone in this house. If you write this thing, it's not like I'm gonna walk in the room and be like, that's fucking dumb. Do you know what I mean? Like the only person making you feel self-conscious about it is you because you're alone. It's, and there's no the critical roommate there.
No.
If it worked with one thing, try it with another. And if it doesn't work, well then, you'll figure out something else. That's all life is a series of adjustments,
Well, and just the fact that we are living in a time where being in the moment is literally all we have.
Yeah.
The future's never been so uncertain. And I know that for me, I've never experienced it this way. I've never experienced it in such a way where I couldn't like just not think about the next 6 months. Right. Or I could just kind of go like, okay, yeah, just kind of doing my thing. Life is good. All right. And it's overwhelming because I think, oh, well, when the real economic crisis hits, will I be okay? At what point are people, I start thinking, okay, well, at what point does the guy next door, when his kids can't eat, is he going to come over with a gun and take all my nuts? Like, I mean, I start thinking about these things and I can't sleep.
Yeah.
And then I think, well, do I have enough rice? Do I have 4 months worth of rice to like weather the storm of all this stuff? Like, is that an insane thought? Am I being crazy? Because I'm not. Like, I'm mostly a pretty sound person, rational person. And then I think, well, how many bags of rice is enough, John? If you had 6 or 60, if you had 60 bags of rice, would you feel comfortable about the future?
Yeah.
And the answer is not really. I mean, I'd have that rice problem solved, but I don't know, man.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like go down this like path of paranoia, but when I'm falling asleep at night, sometimes that's where I go.
Yeah.
And which, by the way, I mean, sleep has been a little bit better because these new pillows. Did I tell you about this?
No, did the new pillows? We talked about this last pod though, and I was like, telling you, the pillows are important. You think they're not, but it worked, huh? Or it's working.
You want to know? You want to know what my old pillows were? They were fucking my pillow.
Oh yeah, okay. So
I had to ditch those. That was bad.
Hey, I got a cure for corona. It's inside the pillow. Hey, rub the pillow on your face. You'll never have corona again. I'm talking to the Jesus Christ and our president.
Basically. And so I got rid of those pillows. I got some crushed. It's like shaved or crushed or something like that bamboo. And it's so supportive and it makes a huge difference. Now there's still the paranoia for the future that keeps me up at night.
Right.
But I'm really, there's the notion of suffering is just the resistance of what is. And so I'm really ruining my ability to get to sleep at night. And the only thing that's getting ruined by my worry of the future is my present. And again, easy to say, right? Easy to be like, well, I'm just going to have to live in the moment, be more mindful. Maybe not eat so many nuts, but I need to fucking, maybe I need to fourth step the bag of cashews and really get into it.
Yeah, because I really feel like it is it is absolutely an extension of your alcoholism. This is that dry drunk shit we're talking about. You might be on a little bender, a nut bender. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because of your attitude and the way you pursue it, and your relationship with it. It's just like, well, it's like my obsessive relationship with like the way I approach the way I eat or the way I work out, and like my future tripping. I have a ton of it too, and a lot of it's political, and a lot of it is about our culture and everything that's happening in our world, and it's all the big shit that's happening. I future trip about that. But then I also future trip about the little things like, oh shit, I fucking went over today on my numbers, on my calories. Am I going to, after all this hard work, am I going to relapse and gain all this weight back? Am I going to take all this hard work being healthy and cast it aside? Or, like, oh shit, we're running low on money. Like, am I going to have to go back into the shop and start doing walk-ins and open myself up to catching COVID, and those kinds of things. But there's not much I can do about those things. I have some control, but I think with with the alcoholic mind, we want to have all the control, right? That's why we drank so much, so we could be in control of us losing control. I never liked psychedelics, right? I never took.
Yeah.
I fucking hated them. And the
Mhm.
reason why I didn't like psychedelics is because I did not like that feeling of being out of control. But then I would black out and take my fucking clothes off in front of everybody, or black out and yell at everybody and be completely out of control, but be like, "Oh no, I like liquor because I feel more in control." You know? Yeah,
Mhm. I
yeah.
shared that same sentiment.
Mhm.
I understand. And I was completely out of control.
Right. But
The
we
whole
crave control. I think it's part of our. I wonder if there is a correlation between substance abuse, alcoholism, those kinds of things, and obsessive compulsive disorder. I really wonder if there's some type of neurological correlation between the two, you know, because it is
So
obsessive compulsion.
please ask all your scientists, your neuroscientist friends, about OCD and alcoholism. We'd love to
Right?
hear from you.
Be interesting.
Mm, yeah, I don't
And
know. I
I
mean,
will also, I don't mean to interrupt, but I will
mhm.
recognize that there is the physical aspect of it as well. I mean, we are alcoholics because we became physically addicted to alcohol, mixed in with the
Yes.
psychological aspect, just like people who are addicted to cocaine or any other substance. There's the physical addiction. So I don't want this to go out into me be like, maybe it's all a form of OCD and someone's at home washing dishes being like, no, dummy. It's also physically addictive, because I talk to my podcasts a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I mean, I think it's both. I think that the point that I'm the point that I think I'm trying to make or work through here, which is a lot of what this is us
Yeah.
just working through it.
Yeah.
Is that it's that emotional attachment to things, because I'm not gonna there's no way that a bag of almonds or a bag of cashews is gonna fucking ruin my life. I
Right.
mean, I would have to really work hard at it.
But
I would
it'll
have to
ruin
eat a
your
lot.
fucking day though.
It'll ruin my day. It can very easily ruin. It can definitely ruin my morning. I promise you that. It was not. I did not feel well. But because then I start doing things like I get one bag of smoked almonds and then I get one of raw, and I kind of mix them because the smoked are like too salty.
Yeah.
And then it reminds me of that Mark Maron bit about ice cream, about how he'll get like the Rocky Road and then he'll get the regular vanilla and he'll cut it because the Rocky Road is too much for him.
Yeah.
And he talks about, he does the whole, just look up Mark Maron's ice cream bit.
Uh-huh.
If you're into alcoholism, obsessive compulsive, or just eating disorders, it's great. It's very it hits home for me. But so then I'm like cutting the almonds, and I've got this whole little system around nuts and like what I eat it with, and like I eat it with a nectarine, and I take a bite here, and then I do a little bit, and it's like, or a peach, and it's like peach pie, or it's like apple pie, and I'm imagining that I'm having a piece of apple pie, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, John, just go have a piece of apple pie and be done with it. Really? So thinking that this is somehow a healthy alternative to obsess over this food rather than move on to something else. And there's a quote, and I'm sure it's not just him. I'm sure it's been said many times before but I think Rich Roll says it. I hear him say it quite often, is that action precedes mood.
Yeah.
So, and again, I can tell you that after I evacuated my bowels this morning, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so graphic, but it was really painful, and I did not feel well. So I'm really trying to remind myself of that and share that with everybody out there. Like, we need these, I need these painful moments to remember.
Right.
What is it Jerry told me when I first got sober? Tattoo that last bender, tattoo it on your brain and do not forget it, and go back to it when you need it. And that is one of the tools of repairing the damage that I've done. So that being said, I've also committed myself to this month to do the 100 push-ups, the 100 crunches, and the 100 squats. Now, I pulled a muscle in my back fucking doing squats, and I was like, damn it, like, not this morning, but like last week. And I was like, fuck, dude, like, what? And my ankles are hurting when I'm trying to run. And like, is it just and so there's all these things. So, right, I'm supposed to, like, what am I supposed to learn from this? And I'm fucking tired of learning, Jerry. But it doesn't mean that it's going to stop. So, But I did it. I did my 100. I did my 300 for today. And I always say, like, you will not enjoy this and this will not be over soon,
Right.
but I did it anyway. And I felt better about everything afterwards. So it helps. Exercise helps and
Yeah.
movement helps.
Well,
And
this
I
is what
can't,
you're gonna have to do while you can't run.
yeah.
Look into high intensity workouts. I know they're probably pretty fucking wild, but like it's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of burpees and
Mm-hmm.
body movement, but it'll get your cardio rate up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've looked
So
into it. I've tried them. It's like the Jane Fonda aerobics, but it's not. It's like the YouTube
mhm.
version. Yeah.
That's fine. Because I'm going to need to find something else that's going to allow me, the ease and comfort that I'm looking for.
Hmm. It's downtime anyway. It's just like if you had injured yourself running, you wouldn't be able to run. At least it's not an injury. So physically, you're still able to use
Yep.
your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
I like
and I
that you're
think
making yourself accountable, though.
I'm
Like
trying.
you're coming on the podcast and being like, I shit hard. It was a hard shit. Let me tell
Jesus.
you, folks, and everybody. Now you're going to have the people that hit you up on Instagram be like, you better not be eating no nuts today. Eat that popcorn, like Jerry said. Although maybe the popcorn won't help either. I don't know.
I don't know, but
I,
then at the popcorn, how many bags would it be? Would it,
dude,
how
you and I are so different. I like eat all of my snacks out of a measuring cup. Like I
mm-hmm.
have a glass Lexan glass measuring cup, and if the bag says 2.5 cups of Smart Food popcorn is 150 calories, I like pour 2.5 cups in the bag, and then I'll just eat it. So I have I'm always just walk around with a measuring cup full of like crackers or like, you know what I mean? Like I measure it
Mm-hmm.
out, I count out the crackers, and that's how many I eat. I might eat one or two little extra. Like, yeah, you did a good job today, Jerry. You get an extra handful of kettle corn. But you and I
Yeah.
are very different though, and I think,
Mm-hmm.
I think my manner of controlling the portion of which I eat ties in with my alcoholism. Do you know what I mean? Because I was a binge drinker, but I also tried really hard to portion the amount I drank to ensure that I had enough later. And I knew it was a hard
Yeah.
drunk when I didn't have enough booze the next day. I was like, oh, that was a hard drunk. But usually I was like, okay, I can do 3/4 of
Ah.
this fifth, and I can have a quarter of it left tomorrow to get me through the morning till I get back to the store to buy another fifth. And so with you, I think you were just like, I'm gonna drink this whole fucking fifth right now, and then we'll see
Mm-hmm.
what happens tomorrow. I've always portioned out, even with cigarettes. I'd be like, I got 20 in a pack. If I smoke 15 tonight, maybe 16, I'll have enough till I get to the store tomorrow. Like my brain's always worked like that.
It's
And
true. It's
so,
true.
so the alcoholism being this big umbrella in which we can all relate and things resonate with each other, that need and obsession and that desperation, we can all grab that. We all approached it in different kind of ways. Like I would hear
Mm-hmm.
someone do a share at a meeting and they were like, first time I drank till I fucking shit and puked myself and loved it and never stopped. And I was 8 years old or whatever, and I was like, that was not my experience. I didn't drink myself till I vomited the first time I drank. I like came into my alcoholism like really tentatively, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So we're all the same because I know in the program they're always like, well, you got to get rid of that terminal uniqueness. You can't be so unique. But we all approached it a little bit different. We had that one big drive and we all get it. Once we get in a room,
Mm-hmm.
start talking, we all understand that drive, but we all approached it really differently. And I think
Yeah.
your approach was balls out. My approach was like still balls out, but was a little measured to make sure that I had enough left for later.
Right. There was always this, concern about being prepared for tomorrow's inevitable painful moment.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to find something else that works. And I know that the
Right.
exercise really did make me feel better, like emotionally, like I felt lighter
Right.
after I was done with it. After I go, okay, I can do it, and it hurts. And you'd like, I mean, if you heard me in the other room, like,
No, I
like,
do the same thing when I lift weights. I actually had the option, and this is going to be more, I think, of a fitness podcast. I had the option between lifting weights and running because those are my two things. And I was like, what do I want to do? And I was like, man, I don't want to lift weights. I want to run. So I ran. I ran 6 miles today, but see, I do
nice.
the same thing. Yeah, I didn't do great though because last time I ran was on Thursday and I got fucking stung by a wasp and it like fucked my whole run. And so I haven't really been keeping up. You know what I mean? I had like all that downtime
Mhm.
up until this Monday. So my lungs got real hot really quick. And
Mm.
but no, thank you. I appreciate that. But now I'm trying to make 6 my new regular. But that being said, I do the same thing when I lift weights. I like grunt. My wife and daughter usually still sleep because they sleep in. I'm up at between 8:30 and 9. I'm up by 7 a.m. I'm working out between 8:30 and 9, and I'm just like, "Ugh! Hey,
Mm.
yeah, I'll curse sometimes. You fucking bitch. Like when I'm doing, the Russian twists or the planks.
Mm.
Yeah, planks are a motherfucker, dude.
Maybe I need to mix it up here a little bit and maybe
You
start
do.
doing my workout first thing and then instead of my reading and writing and maybe do that afterwards.
I do.
But
Very first thing I do, I have coffee, I watch the news, and then I work out. And then the rest of the day from there. Then I make breakfast, feed the animal. Well, Olive feeds the animals now. We traded off.
Mm,
She's doing her chores
nice.
now. I gave her chores like a real dad. Anyway.
Nice.
But yeah, I have like a whole
Like
schedule.
there's some chores in this house. There's some chores in this house. There's some
Yep.
chores.
I want to find a WAP for the dog and the cat. Like feed that pussy, like feed the cat. That's gross. But yeah,
Don't do that.
that's so gross.
Yeah.
There's chores in this house though. That's so
I don't know.
horrible,
I don't
man.
know. But sorry, certified
There's some
freak.
chores in this house. There's some chores in this house. Fuck. Oh my God.
Jesus. But yeah, so I am open and willing to finding something new to combat yet again another bout of alcoholism, this time with
Nuts.
almonds and nuts, right? I'm gonna have to do a no nut November of my own.
You do. I was about to say you gotta do no November. I think it's just your approach to things that make you feel good. Just like with running, which is a positive thing because it's not like you're out there pushing yourself so hard you're tearing a hammy.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like you run within reason, but it makes you feel good. So now that thing is being taken away, and you're like, I need something else to make me feel good. But I think anything that goes in your mouth, you like overdo it.
Yeah, I remember the whole Halo Top ice cream thing. I thought that
Yeah.
I had fucking holy grail of like, I'll just eat cucumbers all day so I can pound 3 pints of ice cream at the end of the night. And I'm like, this doesn't seem right. This is not what normal people do.
It's not good for your guts. Yeah, but it works within the parameters of calorie counting.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still not. It's not healthy.
Funny. It's funny. Both our brains are wired that way.
Mm-hmm.
And this works with the theme of the pod. Like.
What
I've
about?
been shortening it to pod, by the way.
I like that. No,
I'm part of the game now.
Is that it's not too pretentious, is it? Call it the pod. Welcome to the pod.
It's very pretentious.
Okay.
In my opinion. But I'm saying I'm part of
Yes.
the game. Like I'm playing the podcast game now. So I'm like, yo, Megan, I got to do the pod at 1, just so you know. Yeah.
I'm gonna need you girls to be quiet.
Because Daddy's got to record his recovery pod.
You
ever have people ask you about your podcast that don't know about it, and then you're like, yeah, it's a recovery podcast?
Occasionally it'll come up.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't, because usually almost everybody that I work with drinks.
Right.
Some more than others. Like I don't, but there's always there's wine tasting. It's a restaurant. So
right.
New wines show up. People are always sipping, or they pass around like a tray of, this is our new Cabernet, blah, blah, blah. And
so
I'll
they
give
all
it a
know
sniff.
you're sober then.
Yeah. And everybody knows that I don't drink. I haven't if somebody comes up to me and asks, I'll tell them that I'm in a program. I'll tell them if they ask me, well, how did you do that? Or why do you do that? And I say, because basically I just say, long story short, I drank as much as I possibly could and it didn't work for me anymore. And I had to stop.
That's great.
Because I can't, yeah. But for the most part, people are either they know or some people follow me on social media. So when I share those things, it's fairly, I assume it's obvious.
Yeah.
When you have a podcast called AIFA for Alcoholic.
They're like, either these guys love the party or they love the party, right? Yeah.
What about, let me ask you this. What about emotionally? So we talk about alcohol, we talk about food. What about emotions? And I know that you rage or anger or frustration, and feeding into those kinds of things alcoholically, quote unquote, or not trying to find healthier ways. And I know
Right.
that, you know, you talk about obviously having some sort of argument with, say, your wife, and you go,
Yeah.
oh, well, baby, I'm sorry, or I apologize, or um, I don't know what my actual question is, Jerry, other
Right.
than
Well, no, you know what?
how do you combat those moments of,
It's hard. It's very difficult because all I've ever done is indulge those moments, right? And I tend to, in recovery, relate those moments to my alcoholism. So,
mm-hmm,
like my anger, my frustration, my impatience, and my resentment, they, in my mind, mentally now, I've like tied them all into my alcoholism. Like they just are in lockstep. So when I indulge those feelings, I feel like, in a way, it's like a tiny relapse. Like I feel that guilt and shame. And I know that, you know, if you're out there and you've relapsed, you shouldn't feel guilt and shame. You should just know that what you're doing wasn't working the way you're doing it. So you got to find another way to do it, you know? But I
mm-hmm.
still, but it's a part of my human nature to feel guilty and ashamed when I am impatient or get frustrated. And what I've been trying to practice patience a lot. It's so abstract, right? Because it's like that mental work you have to do on yourself. So for me, it's like finding the reason, looking at the reason why, and then I don't know, trying to find some type of technique, which is so abstract because it's like, how do I just not be fucking angry? There's everything in the world to be fucking angry about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, my, I don't know, man. Like, if I get frustrated with like my family or whatever, my impulse is to snap out and get really frustrated. And I can see myself doing the thing in my head before I do it sometimes, especially if I break something or, you know, whip something across the room. Like my mind has already done it. My mind's like, grab that and throw it. And then I'll just, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. You know, like it's like that quick thing. And so now I've been ignoring that, you know, and I'm not saying I'm a rage monster who's walking around throwing shit around the house. I used to
No.
kind of be, but I kind of, you know, in the past, I guess I was. But now, when I see myself saying something or snapping out at someone or using like a really hard tone with my daughter or my wife, when I know that I'm just feeling frustrated about something, like I refrain from it for a second. Like I have to pull back on the urge, just like pulling back on that urge in early recovery, where every 10 seconds I was like, you're not drinking. Why aren't you drinking? You know, so it's hard. It's like this mental thing in my head. I just have to like pull back on it to like not let it out, because it's really ambiguous to be like, well, I've been doing a lot of work on me, you know, because we know what
Yeah,
work
we
is.
talked
Work
about
is
that.
washing
Yeah.
dishes or digging ditches or mowing your lawn, but doing work on yourself is what? Like what exactly? I just sit down and reflect really hard. Like I've always had a hard time with that that kind of ambiguous talk, you know.
Well, I think that, I mean, I think that in some ways you've nailed it, where you talk about, where you say, I see it in my mind first,
I always
and
have.
then I kind of ignore it in the same way as the movie A Beautiful Mind, where you see the fucking schizophrenic hallucinations. They're
Right.
still there. You
Right.
just don't give any sort of credence or voice to them.
Yes, yeah, it is kind of like that. I got a little Russell Crowe thing going on. And this is the
um,
funny thing about, once again, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but what in my active alcoholism, especially during blackouts, which I didn't remember, but just even I remember being mean drunk and angry drunk, that voice wasn't there. I just did it. Like I would just do the things. Like I would just pick up a fucking beer glass and throw it across the room.
you were
Like
that
there was
voice.
no voice. I was the voice. Yeah, yes, I was, John. It's like that alcoholic went from the back seat of the car and just fucking scoot over, motherfucker. We're gonna drive on the sidewalk, and that's
Hmm.
what we did. You know, like that's absolutely what it was. And now in recovery, that voice I always tie it in with my alcoholic. I just had a breakthrough on the podcast. Boom.
Hmm.
I'm helping myself. This is what doing the work is.
Doing the work. So I think, well, one, talking it out with somebody else, regardless
Yeah.
of who that person is, it doesn't need to be necessarily a sponsor or a
Right.
therapist.
Just talk to my
Somebody who's
neighbor.
willing to listen. Just talk to, yeah, hey
Yeah,
neighbor.
I'm just grabbing the garbage can. I'm like, you know what fuels my alcoholism? And she's just like, I
I'm
just
just
wonder if
checking
you're
the
getting those
mail.
turkeys in your yard. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I remember this. I have a fairly vivid memory because I was a little shocked, and I wasn't shocked at much with
Uh-huh.
you and I, because but I remember, I feel like it was, you were living in the Silver Lace apartments,
Yeah.
and so we all had like flip phones, right? Cell phones. They were,
Yeah.
remember the original cell phone, the
Oh
flip
yeah,
phone.
yeah.
And
LG.
I remember you having some, I don't know if it was a problem with the phone or the person on the other end of the phone,
Oh, jeez.
but I do remember you taking the phone and throwing it across the room.
Uh-huh.
And my thought was not, I'm scared of his rage or anything like that, but I was like, fuck, dude, I couldn't throw my phone. That shit's expensive. Like,
Yeah,
I got to
just
go get
gotta
another
go buy a
one.
new phone. Yeah. Mhm.
But that didn't, and I didn't understand that as I was just like, "Tch, Jesus, man, that's fucking money you're throwing out. And you
Yeah.
didn't give a fuck. Yeah, I guess you just went and bought another phone.
Probably. Or just use a busted phone for like 3 months until I can do enough fucking lower back tattoos.
Mhm. So, but it kind of shocked me in that moment, not because I was afraid you were going to throw something at me or that you
Right.
were going to be violent towards somebody. I feel like I remember your rage drunkenly was mostly toward inanimate objects, although, you know,
Always has been.
your
Yeah.
wife might say something, you know, like verbally, you would be
Right.
loud. We were all that way. I'm not pointing the blame on
No,
you
I know
or
what you
saying
mean. Yeah. No, I never punched anyone. Like,
no.
not to justify my actions, because a lot of my actions I would, looking back on, I'd be like, God, that's semi-abusive in a relationship, if not
Mhm.
emotionally abusive. Like, you're sitting with a person who gets so mad he throws a fucking phone at the wall, smashes it. Like, then you're thinking, is he gonna throw a phone at me? And so I get that and I own that. And we've talked about that, but it was a lot of inanimate. I broke a lot of shit. I mean, you have not that we're going to talk about that, have the Jerry breaking shit hour, but talk to Coda about it one night and he'll tell you how many fucking phones, just cordless phones we went through at the house. Because I'd fight with my ex-girlfriend and just smash the phone. I remember throwing a coffee cup out the back door when we were arguing and she got in her car and just not looking. I just threw a coffee cup out the back door and it flew over the fence and hit the roof of her car and exploded. And I was just like, in hindsight, I'm like, I chuckled because I'm so shocked at that. Like, what the fuck, dude? So yeah, that voice took the front seat. That voice definitely drove the car for years. I had to fight him back there, dude.
Looking out my back
Trying to
door.
land a fucking coffee mug at.
Yeah. Yeah. I did that a little bit. There. I remember you want to. There was. I think too. I remember throwing and this is how long ago it was, a VHS tape from Blockbuster Video out the second story window and shattering the window, and then having to live with a window.
Oh yeah, I remember that too. Mm-hmm.
I had to, and it was like there was an awning, so I was on the second story, but I had to live with an open window for like a few days. And we lived in a college town, and the college town was filled with drunk college kids, and you get enough of those kids together and they start dumpster fires on the little roundabouts.
They have tiny riots. Yeah.
So they have tiny riots, right? And at this point, I was going to have to call my landlord and say I broke the window, I need to get it replaced. And I think now I need to make amends for this. I don't know how I do that. But so when I did finally call the landlord, it was the day after one of these dumpster fires that were right outside my house. And I told them that one of the rioters had thrown something through my window and I needed my window replaced.
Yeah.
So I lied to the landlord about breaking the window myself so that I didn't have to deal with the consequences of my actions.
Oh, no, I know. You told me this back in like 2002, and I was like so proud of you. I was like, that is fucking genius. You broke something, and you fucking got away with a lie. I was like, you're a fucking criminal mastermind.
Right?
Like so smart to me, yeah. Because usually I just break something and be like, yeah, I fucked it up. Sorry, like I'll get a new one, And you were like, oh no, it was the riots, you see. Which I couldn't even call them riots. It's like entitled drunk college kids. They'd break up a party, and these entitled white college kids would tear up the neighborhood. Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, that is. And so these behaviors now, emotionally, they still exist to some extent. Like I still act out impulsively sometimes, but not nearly. I mean, they've really gone down, and I'm just trying to be transparent for the sake of the pod. Like I'm not living my perfect life here. I don't think either of us are living what we consider to be an ideal life, but it's working and we're happy for the most part. At least for myself, I'm content. I'm content for the most part,
Yeah.
But no, I'm not emotionally living my perfect life, and I think people who tell you they are, I have a kind of a mistrust for them, you know.
I mean, if you've ever read or listened to the Dalai Lama, speaking of people who, supposedly are emotionally and spiritually, living their best life,
Right.
he talks about getting sad and depressed. And I read the book, The Art of Happiness, and he talks about like so here's this dude who's supposed to be the spiritual leader of a group of people who are, supposedly this sort of monkish, and I'm making a huge generalization here,
Right.
but the idea, the notion, the ideal is to be this sort of calm Zen, ease and comfort, right? We're supposed to be content. It doesn't have to. And even this person who we expect to be that way has problems and gets disappointed and gets frustrated. And so it's again, it's just such a human thing that we have to contend with. And especially in the world today.
Yeah.
Ugh.
We're covered in nerves, dude. We're always going to be too hot, too cold. Do you know what I mean? Our stomachs are going to hurt. We're going to have headaches. Our legs are fucked up. Got fucking autoimmune disease, whatever. Got cancer. I got fucking hairs falling out. I don't know. I know cancer and autoimmune disease are not really in that list, but like there's always going to be something wrong. We're human beings. We're covered in nerves. We're covered in these tactile feeling fucking organs. And then we got one big giant tactile feeling organ in our head that makes us doubt ourselves constantly, Yeah, I have entire mistrust for people who absolutely don't doubt themselves. Like I always wonder what they're up to, I'm like, I don't know. You're a little. You sent me that PMA book, and I made it into a little bit. And I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't know if I mistrust him or not yet. I know he's been through a lot of shit. But he makes me laugh though, because he's like, be fucking positive, you fucking pussy, you bitch. Get your shit together, because he's super East Coast. But so I trust him on that end, because I'm like, yo, that dude has seen some shit, so he's earned his positivity. You know what I mean? I guess that's
he'll talk more about it too. But the book we're talking about, John Joseph, what's his last name?
I can't remember. The book's sitting over there.
John Joseph. The book is called PMA, Positive Mental Attitude. And I'm just finishing it on audiobook, and it's great because yes, he's from New York City, so he's got that accent, and he's not afraid to swear, and he's not afraid to use crude language when he's talking about Swami Prabhupada or these.
And he's like a vegan too, so he's like, gotta save those fucking baby calves, you fucking scumbag. Don't be eating those fucking baby calves. What are you, some kind of fucking mental case? Be happy, motherfucker. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm doing the physical book, and I can hear his voice doing it. And I'm like, I enjoy it, but I'm also like, I guess I bring him up because I'm like, I am not a suspect of your positive attitude, because you've earned that shit.
Right. Yeah. And so you're right. It's hard to trust when we as alcoholics, I as an alcoholic am always battling. Every day I'm battling some sort of misery or frustration or anger or sadness. And so for somebody to say, well, I'm just happy all the time, it's like, yeah, are you? Because I don't believe you. And so, yeah, you're right. And his attitude, and he's earned it. So, and he talks more about the whole idea of like working on it, and every single day consistently. What do you do today, tomorrow, the next day? You have to do it every single day.
Maybe I'll read this one too. Maybe I'll audiobook this one so I can read it while I'm painting. So maybe he's doing the work that I find ambiguous. Maybe he'll explain to me the work that I need to do. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like when they always say do the work, and I'm like, that's a word. I don't know what that word means, but it means work, Well, so I'll audiobook him too. I got 2 credits from Audible. I might just bite the bullet and just buy it, the monthly thing from Audible. We're not sponsored by Audible, but Audible, if you want to sponsor us, man, I'll listen to all your books. And we won't curse during our commercial for you, but we will curse during the rest of the podcast.
100%.
You fucking pussy.
He's great. But yeah, you're right, because it feels genuine, and I think that's really an important. That's the most important quality. Not whether or not you're positive all the time or that you're miserable, because I don't want to listen to somebody who's miserable either.
No. Well, I have friends who are miserable. They're funny, but I'm also like, dang, man. But I think you're right. Be genuine and be sincere in your actions. I think maybe that's part of the work too, is being genuine in your actions, being sincere, empathy. I always felt like empathy was a big part of recovery for me, because that was the only way I could know that I wasn't alone, was to be empathetic towards another person and relate. Yeah, that was the only way. And I think that sense of comradeship, that companionship of knowing there were others in the same situation as me, was super valuable. Always has been. Yeah. Even now. Yeah, I forget it sometimes.
Finding out, if listening and being empathetic, and knowing that when you know that somebody else, that you're not alone.
Yeah.
That's what I want to say. You're not alone.
You're not alone.
Oh shit, you too? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of us. Not all of us, but all of us. You know what I mean? Wink, wink. All
Wink,
of us.
yes, all of
All
us.
of us who've been in the boat, in the drunk tank,
Yeah. And I think too that it's
it's just such a weird old homeless like train bum. All of us together, wink, wink. All of us in the car.
Train bum.
We're all taking our pants off. Why are your pants still on, buddy?
Take your pants off.
Take your pants.
Well, the other part of that is I feel like it's okay to have those feelings. Sadness, depression, anger, frustration, rage, all of those things, right?
It's a human thing, yeah.
I need to feel those things. I need to feel them fully. And and understand, one, that they're not going to last forever. And two, find my way back to a place that is helpful rather than harmful.
Yeah.
Being miserable all the time is ultimately going to be harmful. Being angry all the time is ultimately going to be harmful to me and my physical health, my mental health, my emotional health.
Right.
Being sad is going to be harmful. So how do I take those things, feel those things, and go, okay, how do I feel better? How do I do the work? I think that part of it is, I'm going to say this, and it's not for everybody, but I think push-ups are a good place to start.
Push-ups are the part. Yeah.
If you get down on the floor and if you even do fucking 3 push-ups, like there's nowhere else to be. There's nowhere else to go. Nothing else is going on.
Man. Yeah, you are right. Yeah. You are right.
It's like a plank, or do a plank, right? Like that's
yeah. I mean,
that's where you're at.
Yeah, I do the push-ups and the planks. I do tricky push-ups, but still, you're in that moment. That's definitely a sense of mindfulness, is planks or push-ups. Absolutely planks, absolutely push-ups. Physical exertion is helpful.
So
definitely keeps you mindful. Makes you know how long 45 seconds really is.
Right?
Yes.
So I'm going to keep that up. I have tomorrow, assuming that all goes well, we're dealing with what we're dealing with in Northern California, and with all the wildfires and stuff. And
you guys should have just raked your forests, man.
Right? Yeah, just clean up the floors. That's all it is.
You got to clean up those billions of acres of forest, y'all. Damn, California.
So
we rake here all the time in Oregon.
Every day.
Everybody's
got a rake. So I'm going to clean up some of my defensible space around my house. I don't know if you know this term, if you've heard this term.
Never heard it, but I imagine you're raking up. Are you literally raking up around your house so your house won't burn? Yeah.
Basically, yeah, kind of just, getting all the debris and brush and stuff like that that's close to the house.
That's physical action.
So that's my plan for tomorrow, and to have I'll probably record it and make some sort of video out of it.
You need to get a scuba tank. So that way you have clean oxygen while you're raking.
Oh, yeah. Get some sort of oxygen tank. Get a scuba tank.
The little canard in your nose with the mask over it, and the little tank on the thing. You just wear it on a backpack.
I've got an old N95, and I think I have a fresh one around here too. So
I mow the lawn in an N95 because of my allergies. Keeps the pollen out.
Yeah. Right. So I think as we continue to work on all of our alcoholic behavior, alcohol aside, just to recap, I think it's just important to be genuine, and it's okay. It's really fucking okay to be. It's okay to be miserable. I don't think it's not okay for me to be miserable all day.
Not all day, but every once in a while. I know. Maybe your new experiment with the nuts is see if you can eat nuts like a gentleman. Do you know what I mean?
Right?
Like measure yourself out half a cup, like 180 calories worth of nuts. Just eat that. And if you end up on a nut binge, then you know you got a fucking problem. You know?
Right.
Yeah. But you got to do the experiment. Like, I know when you were trying to quit drinking, you're probably like, maybe I can drink in moderation. And then you realize that didn't work after a few days. So maybe you can try to nut it up in moderation and then see how that rolls for you.
And I had a glass of milk with my sandwich, and I thought, well, I could put a couple of nuts in the milk.
I could maybe have some almond milk. Just take it straight to the source.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that the so yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
where
story,
he's
you
putting
know,
the whiskey in the fucking milk. So gross, man.
gross.
That's why you relapse, because that's gross, dude. That's not why you relapse, but yeah. So gross. Yeah, too many whoopee parties, dude. Too many whoopee parties.
Too many whoopee parties. So yeah, we're referring to the big book if you don't know. But yeah. All right, Jerry. I hope you have a good day. I hope
you too, man.
I'm going to make a concerted effort to have a good day.
Yeah. So will I.
So,
Yeah,
all right.
We'll make a vow. We'll both try to have a good day.
Here's to a good Monday.
We'll toast our nuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Later.
All right, Joe. Later.
Thanks again for listening. Our music, as always, is by Neglect. You can find more of his stuff at neglect.bandcamp.com.
And you can find us on all social media platforms that matter: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can reach us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.